Dr. Essam Daod is a psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who grew up in Israel in a small Arab village in the Galilee. He specializes in child and adolescent psychiatry. In 2015, he flew to Greece for a humanitarian rescue mission where he co-founded Humanity Crew and has been working with refugees and people in crisis ever since. Currently, he is an avid refugee mental health activist and researcher who has spoken in countless conferences and media outlets all over the world, advocating for the importance of mental health support for refugees. Humanity Crew specializes in providing first response mental health intervention to refugees and people in crisis. In 2016, Essam and Humanity Crew were awarded the Defenders of Refugee Rights Award at the 4th edition of Cities Defending Human Rights in Barcelona. In 2018, he became a World Health Organization mental health expert team member and a TED speaker and fellow. On a personal note, he and his wife flew with their 1-month-old baby from Israel to be at the wedding of his cousin Rita, who is on the program today, or on the meeting today, and my son Ryan, in May of last year. An amazing accomplishment for a 1-month-old baby to make it all the way to Mendocino County for that wedding. So I'd like to introduce to you to my friends at the Lamorinda Sunrise Rotary, Dr. Essam Daod. Essam, take it away.
Thank you, Skip. Thank you everyone for having me here. I'm really happy and honored to be part of your weekly meeting and speak to you. Just to make sure, I have in half an hour, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you know, Skip is a family, so it's a little bit weird maybe for everyone, but this is the beauty of diversity and migration and open borders. Usually it makes beautiful babies. So mine also is mixed. This is between Russian and Arab, and also I think Skip future grandson will be also a special one. So thank you for welcoming me, and especially in these hard days for the United States, when you have your own issues, to be able to listen to other issues and problems, and it means how much your heart is large to also to learn about the suffering of others while you are dealing with yours. So really thank you for this, especially in these days. As Skip said, I'm until 2015 I was just a psychiatrist to finish medical school here in Israel, and I was a plastic surgeon for a couple of years before I switched to psychiatry, which is another topic to speak about. But yeah, in 2015 I found myself on the shore of the Greek island of Lesbos, just like 2 weeks before the refugee crisis started, and since then this is what I'm doing. I'm blessed to do this. I think I all the time say that it gives me much more than what I gave to the people, and I all the time feel even sometimes shy to get any kind of recognition, because at the end it's a huge benefit for me and for my family. So I'm just thankful to really be there. I had been to be there and to help people. So I will share with you my personal stories, and through this, and to talk about the refugee crisis, especially for the Syrian refugees in Europe and in Greece. This is one where we started, and this is one of our projects. We expand our work to Libya and Malta and Italy and Korea now with the COVID-19, and Spain and Russia and many other countries. But all the time when I want to speak about something, people who don't know us, I start with Greece, because everything started there, and I feel like I have to share this with everyone, because I don't know if it's similar to what's happening now in the US, but it's similar in a way that is really how to take the good out of trauma, out of crises that happening and bad things that happening in our life. Because what I had in 2015 and what I really go through, me and my wife, it was no human being should see this or go through this. But at the end, only good things come out from this. And I want to share with you this. So I will share my presentation. Before this, I want to show you a short clip about, just to put you in what, you know, what's really happening in Greece, or what happened in Greece until now. So you can get really the feel sense what's happening there. Okay, sharing my screen. Sorry. Yeah. No, this one.
We can see it.
Yeah, but it's not this one.
Oh.
This one. Yeah, it's the. Now, do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Is there supposed to be volume, Essam?
Yeah. Do you hear the volume? Okay. Do you hear it now?
I can hear it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may want to restart it.
Okay.
The Greek island of Lesbos on the front line of a wave of immigration that has overwhelmed Europe. As the boats continue to arrive, exhausted volunteers work around the clock. But sometimes it's not enough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
In the past month, more than 80 people have died in Greek waters, many of them children.
It's not easy because the purpose of coming here was to save life, and when you lost and we don't save the lives, you feel guilty. You have nightmares.
Nearly all of the 218,000 migrants and refugees who crossed the Mediterranean to Greece in October landed here on Lesbos, an island of just 80,000 people. And with winter weather on its way, the journey across the Aegean from Turkey is becoming even more dangerous. Volunteers say larger aid and international organisations have been conspicuously absent. Keeping vital supplies going is a daily struggle.
I saw it on the news how people were just dying here. There was no people. There were no people here that looked for them. And now I'm happy that I can be a light here in the dark for those people.
I do everything, but my specialty is preparing tea. I dress babies, fix sandwiches, give out water, collect garbage.
Spanish jet skis helped the Greek Coast Guard to keep up the rescue effort. There were some remarkable stories of survival, of babies plucked from the sea. But bodies continue to wash up on the shore.
Yeah. You see me now. So, do you see me? Do you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. So this is a short clip from Greece, from the Greek island of Lesbos, and this is what happening until now, maybe in a different, you know, context, because the one who's doing the rescue is the military, and the Greek Coast Guard is not that good because, you know, they hide things. But this is what around 600,000 people go through in less than half a year. Until now, more than 1 people from refugees from the war in civil war in Syria did through this. They pass from Turkey to Greece. The purpose of this, because they want to be, it's supposed to be a 45 minutes sailing, but it takes 5 hours, and it took the life of more than 40,000 people only in Greece and Malta and Italy. It reached the 100,000 people. But because of the smugglers, the boats they use, and no rescue operation, and many people lose their lives, and it takes sometimes 5 hours, and they're stuck in the middle of nowhere, especially in Malta, which is a different case, in Libya, where the boat, there is no chance they will arrive to land if you don't find them. So they go with the boat out of Libya, knowing that if no rescue operation will find them, they will die. And we are talking about an open sea. They need to cross the Mediterranean from south to north. It's not like in Greece and in Turkey. It's a few miles between the Greek islands and the coast of Turkey. So I found myself really, I don't know, there is many, many stories about how I arrived there. It's not that I don't know how, but each time I remember different reason. Sometimes I remember that I see that today I did a talk with, yesterday I did a talk, an interview, and I remember that I actually received an email at work asking me if you want to join a mission. And this is like the first time I remember this. Then sometimes I remember that my wife asked me to. It was many, I don't know, many things happened to make me and also my wife and my partner in life, Maria, to be there. And I'm happy that this happened, because when we arrived there in October, it was really just before the big NGOs arrived there, and there even not a lot of media. There was like few hundred people that arriving every day. And I remember in one night, after like in one morning, we just wake up, and the guy that we rent a room at his tavern, his name is Paris, he just say, "Doc, come and see." And we went out and we saw 30-40 boats arriving to shore, and we are talking about 10 miles of shore. This is where the almost 1 million people arrived, 600-700 people that time. It's not like they are coming all over Greece. It's just, if you have just one jet ski, that you will solve everything. And it was almost 24 hours, 8,000 people arriving every day to a shoreline, which have nothing. Small island called Lesbos, to the north side of it, where there is no people living there. So like in the front of uninhabited areas in Izmir. So it was more easy for the smugglers to send boats 24 hours, don't care about winter waves, and these boats, which is for you, it looks like a normal family boat. It's, people lost their lives, and they need to sail by themselves and navigate. And sometimes they think that the short way is the right way, but then they go through against the waves and the opposite. And people lost their kids because they jump and their child just fall down the water, but no one agreed to go back and search for this, because when you are in trauma and you are in a fight or flight mode, you take care only for yourself, and then all the survivors will have the guilt how come that they don't really help. And really bad. And each person here paid $3,000 for this, I don't know, trip with these life jackets, fake life jackets. All of them flee, war zones and ISIS and Daesh and Bashar. This woman here lost 2 children in one day after the rescue. The thing is that I don't know that I'm going there. I wasn't prepared. I think that I'm gonna have, like, you know, as a child psychiatrist, gonna play with children. And due to technical issues with my university, with my studies, like my research, Maria traveled 3 days before me. And when I arrived on Thursday, I say, Maria, where's the camp? Let's go. And she say, honey, just take yourself and just go to the north of the island. People are dying there. There's no doctors. And I say, what? She said, just go. She gave me all the details, and I drive all the way to the north, and it was a war zone. And I say, like, how come people don't know about it? Where's the media? Like, and I start Googling the names of the photographers living in the same tavern there, and Santi Palacio, like, 3 times Pulitzer winner. Like, he works with the CNN. Like, how come, like, they are not talking about this? And then you start to understand a little bit that it's about, you know, it's not like there's someone who's controlling the media. I don't know how, but like, there is editors and there is policy when things need to go to the media or not, and it's stronger than us. And then we start dealing with this massive old yacht that have 400 people sometimes, and 500 people, because the smugglers just want to make money. So 3,000 people for each person, for 40, 50 people in a rubber boat, it's like, it's not enough for them. So why we can't have like 3,000 with 500? Just imagine, you have like millions of dollars in this boat. The problem with these boats, when they start arriving in October, that they can't arrive to the boat, to the shore, like to the beach, because they need a port, and you need a sailor in this, and they sail by themselves, and they're stuck in the middle. And then this is a rescue operation in the 2000, like in today's, this is how rescue operation happen in Europe, unfortunately, by locals and individuals and NGOs. And when you hear about the immigration or the refugees, it's, you know, it's the black person, or, you know, the young men who are coming to take our jobs and etc. But I have been there. It's children, as you see. I had the oldest one was 98 years old, and the youngest was 2 twin boys that born less than 1 kilo, preterm. And they had to take the boat because they don't have the money to stay at the hospital. And the smugglers say to the mom, if you don't take the boat, they can't return the money, and the whole family have to take it, because, you know, they put all their money in this. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I remember that receiving this boat in the middle of nowhere, and I have this life jacket and I want to throw it because it was empty. And just in the last minute, I saw like a small head, and I said, God, this is like, it's a baby inside, and that size is less than 1 kilo. And then another one, and it was really amazing how these 2 babies, just in less than 5 minutes, they become warm and inside the car, and they like start smiling. And then you understand, like, the drive of life is stronger than anything else. And it teaches you a lot, that if these 2 preterm children succeed to do it, so there's nothing can really stand in front of a family that really want to a better life, and they escape death, is because there is nothing else can make you take your premature twin to operation like this, or a trip like this. Only if you escaping death, and only if the sea become a safe place compared to the land, where it's really hell for them. As you see, this is what we used to do, and we're still doing this, unfortunately, in some parts. This is the shoreline where almost hundreds of thousands of people arrived, and you tell yourself, how come all these life jackets are people? this is a dead body here. We didn't succeed. And as you see, there is no towns or cities around, and people were coming and they go down, and you know, it's really hard because you see the Albans, people from Albania, the Gypsies coming, they take the solar and part of the engine, and the Greeks are taking, you know, some equipments, and there was also people sending like everyone was making money around these people who are fleeing the war. And you found yourself as a young doctor in the middle of your career. You know, you came for the picture in Facebook, I will tell you the truth, and it's good, there's something nice, or let's help people, I don't know. Maria, my wife, just went back from the States. She did her master's degree in George Washington, and she just arrived. And in Israel, the situation in 2015 in the summer, and it was really tension, and there was a lot of fear. And we usually, you know, people like us as a citizen of Israel, the Palestinians inside Israel, we don't feel fear. Like, we live here, like it's become like, you know, part of our life. We were not in the Gaza or in the West Bank, but in 2015, if you go back to the news, it was totally different. There was a lot of tension in the area, and I like, even in the hospital, and it was really like, me and Maria said, let's do something. Like, it can be a vacation, so let's like mix between a vacation and a doing good. And then we found ourselves here, as I mentioned before. But in one hand, this is good, but in the other hand, this is the reason why it almost destroyed my life. Because when you are coming for a, you know, let's like happy, fun, and you find yourself counting dead bodies and learning at YouTube at night how to do a CPR to children who drown without oxygen, and that you need to take them from the legs and doing like this, and just remember everything you did in surgery, because I become like, and the feeling, and what's really makes it harder for me more than any others, that volunteers that I found there, that I understand the people. So it's not just seeing the suffering, but also listening to the suffering, and it's destroying me, because each one who got down from the boat, it wasn't just screaming for me, it was words that I understand as an Arab. And what makes it harder for me, that this is words that I had it back in home from my dad, as have refugees. All my mom family are all around the world. This is why my uncle and all my mom's side, like, you know, they are in San Francisco and London and Jordan, Kuwait and Lebanon. I grew up for a mom that she felt lonely all the time, because she had only her dad here, and he couldn't travel in 48 and flee because he was handicapped. He lost his hand. He was a mechanical engineer. He lost his hand just a few weeks before the war with Israel. And this is the only why that I am here, and why, and living for growing, like, it's the same stories. And sometimes even there was Palestinians in these books. So it's understanding, and it's your own trauma and own suffering, and you're a psychiatrist. Like, it was a mix, and I'm not prepared that it was, you know, the highway for me to suffer from PTSD. And I did, you know, when I went back after 1 month, I gained, I don't know how much in pounds, but it's like 30 kilos, I think, like 60 pounds. You see me here like slim and fat, but now I'm lost a little, some of them, but I couldn't sleep, nightmares. This picture I'm putting here because this is what really, like, this is a girl that I found when I was driving by in the beach where we do the rescue, and she was dead, and I lost it. It was like almost the last 2 days of my first mission, and I remember that I couldn't stop staring at her. I didn't know how much time I spent there. I lost the sense of time. I remember that people started coming around and they saw me, and then I took her, and no one, when I took it from me, because everything was full, and the ambulance didn't want to come, and she was in my car for a couple of days, and you know, and I lost it. As you see, even in the video when I was talking, that even the feeling that you're coming for help and you need to confirm death. And when I come back, and when I went back home, I will just take it out. This picture, I don't like it. Oh, also this one is not nice. This one is nice. And so when I went back home, it was a lot of nightmares. And just about this picture, like how trauma works, actually the nightmare was that I'm dreaming about a white European person with a white hair, an old guy, and waking up, and I was all wet and afraid, but the feeling, it was her, this girl. I called her Amira. I don't know what her name is, but it's like princess in Arabic. And I, oh God, like, why I can't dream about her? Like, even like, I want my nightmares, but I want the real nightmares. Why my nightmares is about her, but is actually a white European guy? Like, it's driving me crazy. And 3 months after that, I was like confirming all people who was sending me Facebook friends, because I was like a lot of in the news and they did a lot of articles. So I say, okay, let's just make it public and make some kind of awareness about these issues. And while I was putting confirm, one person that I just like, I felt, I don't know, I didn't feel okay when I did confirm. I just go to his profile and I say, I know this guy, and his name was still is Javier Boulouz. He's a photographer. I say, God, I know this guy. Like, he's the guy that, like, this is my nightmare. Like, why am I, like, this is him. And I go through his profile. He's a photographer. There was nothing special. He took pictures in Greece, but month after I left, and it's a small island, as I said, and it was like a small shoreline, so we know everyone. There was one guest house. I didn't see him there, so I just text him a message on Facebook, and I say, don't say that I'm crazy. I'm really, I'm dreaming about you every night. I don't know why, sir. Please, can you solve it for me? And he said, yeah, sure. I'm looking for you. And he sent me this picture. And he said, this is like the first moment that I arrived to the island, I actually saw you and I took the picture. And it's actually, I'm looking at him here. And this is how trauma works, because trauma is a fragments of memories that you cannot process, because it's overwhelming, it's surprising, unexpected. It's against all the norms and the things that you believe in. And because of that, your brain and your cognition cannot deal with. So it just take it and just, put it as small fragments of memories in your amygdala and your limbic system in your brain. And then all these small reminders in the future, and until up to 30 years by the book and literature said it can reactivate these small memories. And this is what I describe now, is the description of post-traumatic stress disorder, is when you have these small fragments of memories, traumatic memories, that reactivated day after day. And when I go back, I had to choose. I remember that my life, I started gaining weight. I really was nervous, fighting with everyone. And I went to therapy, and I remember my psychologist that I know her before. She said to me, after like 2-3 sessions, she said, Essam, I know you before, you're a strong young man, I like you, but I don't like you now. You have to choose if you want to be all the time a victim, or if you want to grow to somewhere from here. You have to choose between being post-traumatic and between being, and to take it to some post-traumatic growth. And I say, what's meaning post-traumatic growth? She said to me, this is the sad part of it, because you are a child psychiatrist, you're a psychiatrist, psychotherapist, and you don't know what the post-traumatic growth, because medicine and the modern medicine is actually focusing in the disease, not in the cure or in the positive things. So she told me, go and learn about post-traumatic growth, and tell me next time if you want to grow from here, or you want to be traumatized all your life. And then I go there and understand that, oh, that's nice. Like, actually, it's making sense. I actually can take my own trauma and I can grow with it. You know, when you have this huge amount of energy, is actually something that can push you forward, as same as it can push you backwards. So why to choose to push me back? What I go through there is something that can be, you know, it actually can be an advantage in somehow, with all the hard stuff with it. And this is the point where we decide to start a humanity crew and start our work. But before just telling you a little bit about humanity crew, and then I will close with it, I want to share with you 2 pictures, because this and this. Because this point that I took, that my therapy, or my conversation with my therapist, is really an important turning point, because it makes me understand that I need to do something. But what I understand is that what I need to do is actually not something that related to mental health. I was really, I wrote an article about it, affected with a Superman syndrome. It's the same syndrome that I had it when I was a surgeon. And this is why I actually left surgery. I hate that feeling when you go out of an operation room and people come to you and they look at you as you are God. And this feeling just destroy you, because this is like, you can't stay normal with this look of the people that just tell me, God, what happened to my dad or family? And I say, I couldn't handle this. You become arrogant, it destroy you. And it's the same what happened to me when I went back from Lesbos, because the defense mechanism that I used to overcome the trauma is actually to go to this mode of I was God. With these hands, I did 27 successful CPRs. This is what I was going around everywhere and telling about the successful 27 CPRs that I did in one day. I give life to 27. This is how I was talking. But I confirmed death to 54 people. But this was my tool to overcome this. And I was very deep in just providing life and ventilation machines and CPR and medical doctors. And I'm a psychiatrist. And what saves me, it's actually, she saved me, not just here, just being my wife and accept to marry me. She did she saves me from myself, and she makes me a really better person. Maria was with me, and Maria said from day 0 in Lesbos, I don't care about boats and being the boat. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. I don't care if they are like, all the media is there. I want to be in a hospital. I will just translate to the people and I will be with them there. And when we went back home, she didn't like the idea that we are going back, because I couldn't handle it. I was really, have flashbacks and I needed some rest. And she was doing like just talking with the people, and I make her and force her to go back with me because I need her. And when we go home, she almost didn't talk with me, and she was like busy of how things she gonna go back. And one day we went to a coffee shop. I think this is the first time that we go out like after 1 week, and friends just took us because they understand that they need to do something with us. And while we were there, I was talking and explaining about CPRs and things that I did there, and all the narcissism just go up. And I showed this picture. It was in the front page of the New York Times, and it was part of an editorial that written by Peter Pockart. He was the head of the emergency response team of Human Rights Watch. And he wrote about one incident where more than 150 people died in 28th of October 2015. And it was based on the testimony that I gave him, because I was the only doctor there. And while I was talking about the pictures and how I did a CPR to this kid, Maria just took a look and she said, God, this is Ahmad. And everyone in the coffee shop, she said, what? And even me, like, because the first time there was a name for these people, even now, just imagine. And after half an hour, it's the first time that I mentioned a name. And she said, this is Ahmad. He came to the hospital in Mytilene in 28th of October after the big shipwreck. And to make it long story short, she described a catatonic state, which is like a neurological storm that is like the most dangerous thing that can happen to your brain. It's like he was like a piece of wood. They put they close his eyes to sleep. They put fluids, and if they have a needle, he didn't move, he didn't cry. They have to put a catheter for his urine, nothing. He was like this. And Maria just naturally, she started talking with him, and etc. And bringing food and tell him, do you want to eat, honey, and make him smell the food, but nothing. And after 3 days, he started like giving some reactions, and Maria started like talking more and more and more with him in Arabic. And she described how he started moving, and he took her hand, and they went down from the bed, and they started walking in the department. Maria trying to make him speak, but I didn't speak. What's your name, honey? What's the name of your family? And nothing, until he reached the glass door of the department, and he put his hand and he said, I want to go home. أنا بدي أروح البيت in Arabic. And when she said this, I start crying like now, because it's like, God, I create robots with my hands. Like, what kind of life I give to this boy? I am the child psychiatrist. I am the one that was supposed to know the importance of mental health support. To give life to a person, like to a child like this, why? If I don't care about his soul and mind after that, why to give him this life? He's now in a catatonic state, in a foreign country. No one speaks his language, no father, no mother, nothing. In a third level hospital where they don't have even a liver enzyme test there. What kind of a future will wait for him? It's most probably better if he just died. And I just create robots with these hands. Is actually, I'm not a Superman, I'm a fake Superman. And it was really the turning point, another turning point, that I understand that what Maria understood actually month before me, and she's not the psychiatrist, she's the lawyer, that what we need to do is a first response mental health intervention. And this was the day that we created the Humanity Crew in 2015. And since then we are doing this all over Greece and Malta and Italy, and we expand to other countries. And we tried our, just the COVID-19 just stopped this in the US-Mexican border. And we achieved everything that until now, and we're trying until now to achieve more and to grow. This is Ahmed, just to finish with a positive thing. This is Ahmed with the glasses. He's in Düsseldorf in Germany. He goes through a whole full treatment. He and his brother and Maria found his mother and his dad. They were looking after him, and the family reunited, and we helped them to go through all the way to Germany. And he's there, and they are healthy and not traumatized, and gave through all the therapy and the support they needed. And this is what brings us to create the Humanity Crew, and this is what we are doing. Since then, we have a lot of models, a lot of research with Cornell, with other universities. We're still small, we're still, especially, you know, we refuse to grow in a way that will destroy us. So we don't have even a fundraiser position until today. We never fundraise money. It's not because we are wealthy, it's just because this money will control us. We look for partners, we look for friends, people who want to give us money, they become our friends, really friends. I spent the whole September in the house of one of our donors, and I drove for the first time in my life a Tesla and a Porsche, and I got a speeding ticket, and we become a family, because I don't want just the money from the people. I want the knowledge and the support to do our work without any kind of intervention that can make it political or religious or anything. And you can achieve this, and you can really be there for the people only if you have partners and friends that believe in the same cause like you. So we are big in the heart, but not in terms of organization. We do a lot of projects, a lot of impact. and we are keep doing this now. And now we are in a very special situation that we're doing a transit also for other locations around the world. So this is us. Yeah,
Essam?
I am. Yeah.
What we need to do right now is to jump into questions, because that's what this group
That's
loves
exactly
doing.
where I finished. That's
Yeah,
it.
I know. And so I'm going to reclaim the host so that you, okay,
Go ahead.
terrific. If you have a question, unmute yourself and ask away.
Essam, this is Skip.
Hi, Skip.
You mentioned in the beginning of your talk how oftentimes out of horrible crises like the ones you've described, good comes. In your experience, tell us about what good you think has come from your endeavors on this small island in the Greek Isles.
Humanity Crew, for me, is the organization, is the things that we are doing, is more than 500 volunteers that work with us, more than 5,000 people who go through our training for mental health. It's the research that we're doing in mental health, is the raising awareness, is receiving an email from one of our partners saying that one of the donors, he didn't donate to us, but we refuse his money because he has like many conditioning like to do with the money. We say no, like political things. But I didn't say like go to hell or not. I try all the time to educate what we can do. And then to receive an email that he donate $1 million for another organization that we really love, and we say that this can go through, like they can, you know, agree with your terms, and somehow to know that there is people who are, you know, enjoying this, and people talking about mental health, being in the stage of TED. Like I'm coming from a village in the Galilee. No one knows, like, okay, I'm a nice guy, I'm clever, but to reach the global TED stage in Vancouver, having Obama, Gates, and Jeff Bezos and all of them in front of us listening to my talk, this is the good that comes from this. And I'm really lucky to be there and to succeed to translate my trauma and my story to something good and to grow with it.
Any other questions?
Dr. Daod, this is Rich Shearer, and something I want to piggyback on an aspect of your talk, because it's I think an educational thing for all of us. You're talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, and you know better about this than I do. Dr. Bob Marino, I'm sure you do. Nurse Grace Richter, you probably do too. But important to know that post-traumatic stress disorder there's a very real physical element to it. And I don't mean that it causes you to do things physically. It's in your brain. We're talking about events that literally bypass the rational part of your brain. And in layman's terms, your reactions come straight from that lizard brain, that ultimate fight or flight or freeze reaction. And as I understand it, there's a biochemical reaction to it, aspect to it, that not only makes it happen now, but makes it that it does not just undo. This is not something you just get over. And people need to understand it's not just a warfare or a horrible crash scenario, but the kind of thing, the kind of human suffering that you were up to your elbows in very much can do it. And I think that's an important thing, a small part of what you're talking about, but it's an important thing for all of us to understand. If you don't know about post-traumatic stress disorder, it's worth reading a little bit about it, because it's not just a snap out of it thing. It is, and it's not it will go away thing. It's I might be able to learn how to manage it and recognize the future triggers thing. So anyway,
Exactly.
thank you for your talk. I just wanted to,
Thank you.
sorry for hijacking, but I thought it was an important
I
thing.
totally agree with you, Richard, and that's why I all the time say that I don't want to, for two things. I don't want volunteers and aid workers to go through what I did, what I get through, that they to go there not prepared. And this is the part, the strong part, the importance of resilience. When you prepare people to know where they are going, you just make the prevalence of PTSD less. And the other thing, this is why we do mental health first response, because prevention, to prevent PTSD is an act. To treat PTSD is a long process, and it's a long treatment that, as Richard said, actually you just learn how to manage it. It's not really how you can cure it, because the trauma just happened. But if we just manage to make sure that in each crisis, as the same amount of resources that we send to the body, it will have the same amount to the soul, because we are doing a rescue and managing an operation that deals with human beings. And this is what makes us actually different than machines. It's the delicate soul that is within us. And even for psychologists, and that the psychology support comes 1 month, 2 months later, sometimes years, and it's a privileged service, and sometimes yes, sometimes no. But the importance of having this support on site, on real time, is super important, because it's the golden hour. I talk about it in my TED Talk, that can make this the way that you can process this and just store it as a hard memory, but not traumatic, or if you're gonna have it as a traumatic memory, and then, as Richard said, you need to live with it all the time. Until now, I live with this. Each time that I talk, I give a speak to anyone like this, I know that tomorrow I will not be functioning, because it's actually activate everything. I know that tomorrow I will have a headache, tonight I will not sleep well, and etc. So usually I schedule my talks in weekends or in the end of the day or stuff like that. I succeed to lose weight, I succeed to do, but if it happens, nothing. And trust me, I'm a psychiatrist, I have resources, I went to all therapies that is possible, but as Richard said, I succeed to learn to live with it. And I don't want people to learn live with it, because not all people have the resources that I have and the knowledge to deal with it. Most of the people don't. I want to prevent this from happening. And the only way to do it is to bring as much as we can mental health, and to train people to provide mental health first response in a crisis zone.